What's up kitchen table wizards, what's up deck brewers from all over the world. It's tribal time again and we are going to build a Phyrexian deck. And you see, Phyrexians, they are not cheap. So this time we are not going fully budget, but we will go flavor, we will go evil Phyrexian with the purpose of making the most flavorful Phyrexian deck in the multiverse and on YouTube. Of course, this is not possible without the help of our great partners, the best sleeves in the business, Dragon Shield, and of course also CARDMARKET. Without a doubt, the best platform in Europe to get your magic singles, to get your magic boosters. If you want to try out CARDMARKET for the first time, do check out the link in the description below, because I have for you then a free €5 voucher to get yourself some singles, to get yourself a booster. Now let's head into the deck. This Phyrexian tribal deck plays 24 lands and it's mainly a black deck. That's why we play 12 swamps and some support with a Barren Moor and a Castle Locthwain. Our supporting color will be blue, that's why we play a Fetid Pools, a Sunken Hollow and a Waterfront District. I also play Shipwreck March, Catacombs and a Temple of Deceit, Tainted Isle, Dismal Backwater and the Manland Creeping Tar Pit. Clearwater Pathway is my flip land. Of course you can flip it into Murkwater Pathway. Now let's head into the creature suite. 23 creatures in this deck, most of them Phyrexians or Phyrexian flavored creatures. And I hope you have your credit card ready, because we start with Sheoldred the Apocalypse, a nice 4/5 with Death Touch that has some crazy abilities. Whenever you draw a card you gain 2 life, and whenever an opponent draws a card they lose 2 life. Now this is indeed Phyrexian money, but Phyrexian money is money well spent. Here's another one, Sheoldred number 2, the Whispering one. He has Swamp Walk, and at the beginning of your upkeep you can return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, and if that's not enough, at the beginning of each opponent upkeep that player sacrifices a creature. Now luckily the Phyrexians also have a few commons and uncommons. Here we go. Battlefly Swarm, Phyrexian Vivisector, Phyrexian Rager and Gyxian Skullflare are our cheaper Phyrexians. And thank God we have some more. Here is a Phyrexian Goblin, a Bone Shredder and a Gurgling Anointer. They all work really well in this deck. Now if you say Phyrexian storyline, you have Rona, of course. She is Sheoldred's faithful, but she's also the disciple of Gix. I included these 2 cool flavorful cards that go surprisingly well in this blue-black mid-range deck. And the flavor keeps on coming, because we also play this Phyrexian wizard Ertai Resurrected. He's a counterspell, he's spot removal all in one. And he likes his Phyrexians, of course, like also this guy, Evangel of Synthesis. He looks like he has spent 5 hours non-stop underneath the shower, but he's also a 2-drop. That's often a 3/3 with Menace in this deck. Next up, Volhar Vodalian Desecrator. It draws cards, it discards cards, it gains you some life, has your opponent lose some life and gets back an instant or sorcery. Very flexible card and great in this deck as well. Now back to some Phyrexians with Gyxian Puppeteer, a 4/3 for 4 mana. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. And when it dies, you can also return a creature with converted mana, cost 3 or less, from your graveyard to the battlefield. And this card works very well with the Phyrexian Gargantua. When it enters the battlefield, you draw 2 cards and you lose 2 life, and the first sphere Gargantua as well. Both are also Phyrexians, and the last one also draws you some cards. Then we also have a Evolved Sleeper. It's a 1/1 that can become a 2/2, it can become a 3/3, and then it will become a bigger Phyrexian that draws cards. Really nice one drop, very flexible card. Then back to a nice well-known Phyrexian, Gix, Yawgmoth, Praetor. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to one of your opponents, its controller may pay 1 life, and if they do, they draw a card. Really nice aggressive card, although his second ability is on the expensive side. Now Defiler of Flesh is one of my favorite art in this block. It's a 4/4 with Menace for 4 mana. That's already quite alright, but whenever you cast a black permanent, you could do it for 1 mana less if you pay 2 life. And whenever you cast a black permanent, you can also have a creature gain +1/+1 and menace. And as we're not sparing our wallet for this deck, we play a Phyrexian Obliterator. 4 mana gives you a 5/5 trample, and his ability is crazy. Whenever a source deals damage to the Obliterator, that source controller sacrifices that many permanents. Next up, a newer card, the Flesh Gorger. It's a menacing life-linking worm, and you can also play it for its prototype cost, and then it's only a 3/3. And the last creature is also an equipment. It's called Batterskull. It's an all-star that comes into play on a Germ Phyrexian creature token that makes it a 4/4 vigilance with lifelink. You can return it to its owner's hand or use it as an equipment. Super guard. Now every good mid-range deck needs some removal, so let's look at 7 removal cards. We start with some spot removal in Baleful Mastery and Hero's Downfall. Both cards are instants that take care of planeswalkers and creatures. The Phyrexian Scriptures is your catch-all, destroy all non-artifact creatures saga, and we also play Gix Command. It's a newer card. Like all commands, you can choose 2 of the 4 options on the card. Some counters, destroying a small creature, getting some creatures back from your graveyard to your hand, or having your opponent sacrifice their most powerful creature. Just too bad that this is not an instant. Next up, some blue-black bounce, some blue-black removal, and a nice counter Squall, the negate that deals some damage. Now we already play some creatures that draws cards, but we have some additional card draw in the deck as well. And of course we need to include what for me is the most famous Phyrexian card out there, Phyrexian Arena, an enchantment that costs 3 mana, and at the beginning of your upkeep you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Then I also play a copy of the Espionage. It draws you 2 cards and you can kick it, and Painted Indulgence is also a very good draw spell. Our last card is a saga. It's Cruelty of Gix, super on flavor. We will discard a card, we will search for the right card, and we will even put a creature back. This one just does it all. Now I want to give our deck a little bit more life gain, and I also want to include a alternate win condition that is on flavor, and for that one I choose Vorpal Sword. Equipped creature get that touch and +2/+0, but you can also pay 8 mana. And then whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game. The last equipment is the Mask of Grizzlebrand. It gives Phyrexians flying, it gives them lifelink, and when they die you draw a bunch of cards. So this is my rather expensive Phyrexian deck that is really on flavor. Let me know which other Phyrexian cards you would put in this deck. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep it casual.